You know?
If you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing. Really, I just brought him here to sabotage.
Yeah.
Now you're in my house.
I will say, funny driving up, I made a comment to Kate. I was like, you know, this guy, I was like, he wants to learn. I was like, clearly, because he brought me in. But yeah, my name's Evan. I'm a first degree black belt. I've been training about 18 or so years. Compete quite a bit, although admittedly, probably this year a lot less. But I actually lived in Cincinnati and trained in Cincinnati for a long time too. Now I'm down at Derby City with Chewy. If you guys watch Chewy Jiu-Jitsu, we'll be going over 50-50 today, which is actually one of my absolute favorite positions. I like legs a fair amount. Always had a lot of success with them, even probably 10, 12 years ago. Straight ankle locks worked incredibly well for me at white belt and blue belt. And then as I transitioned more to no-gi and black belt, obviously the heel hook's generally a better choice. I played inside position for a very, very long time, and I kind of developed a heavy preference towards 50-50, just based off how well it worked. Bringing in with me today, and I'll probably use her as my Uki, my wife's here, Kata. She is a black belt under Chewy as well, Derby City, and he just snuck in, changing the back. I got another guest who's coming with me. His name's Wes. He was my main training partner for a lot of years. He's a black belt now. He's a world champ. He won worlds last year. He's an absolute animal, and he's big on legs too. So there's a lot of knowledge. Feel free, obviously, grab me. We have a good size group, so like I'll be able to go around, I think, to most everybody. But also, if you need to grab Kata or grab Wes, they're going to be really good at most of this stuff that I'm teaching. In fact, there's a short story, and I do talk quite a bit. But you know, my wife and I started training together a lot, pretty heavily, about 2 years ago. And I always, like I said, always had a preference to 50-50 for a long time. And funny enough, like I taught her almost everything I know for 50-50. And there was a time probably about a year ago or so that we were rolling. And it had got to the point where like all of a sudden I could almost not tap her. I couldn't get anything at 50-50. And I was basically like running for my life and had to learn kind of like then the defensive aspect more on it. But we'll jump into it today. And I'll kind of say like, who's familiar with legs at all or 50-50? Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Maybe a touch.
Let's get a show of hands. Raise your hand if you know the 50-50.
Yeah. Because, so today, you know, what we'll go through, and Adam called this a workshop. I think that's actually perfect because this will vary a little bit. If you're more familiar with this, I could easily teach, I mean, no joke, 4+ hours of 50-50 because there's so much from it. So some of this will vary based off what is working well for you and what you've already seen and gone through before. Just to talk for a couple minutes on, again, 50-50, why it's useful, and we'll discuss it from the ground, and then we'll discuss it from standing and how it applies and why I like this position so much in a sense. So your base position of 50-50, go ahead and go down. This is the most basic form of 50-50 and how you should think of it. This is, we both have two legs on the outside in a sense, and we're both trapping our opponent's inside leg. This is called 50-50 because from this position, it's basically 100% neutral. She has the exact same thing that I have. Which initially for a long time I neglected this position for exactly that reason. I said, hey, this is dangerous. Why would I want to be somewhere where someone has the exact same positioning as me? And then I realized that it's a very, very complicated game and a lot of people don't know how to play it. So if you make yourself familiar with it, you will have a lot of success from here. This being our base 50-50, this differs from, say, outside ashi, which would be a leg position. If I had, for example, her legs split, and my two legs here, this is no longer 50-50. This shares some of the same principles, but some principles it doesn't share with 50-50 at all. And this is also similar, but different than if we had honey hole, which is the saddle, or inside Senkaku 411. This is all the same term for right here. So is that brand new to everybody, or most of us pretty well through that? Fantastic. So advancing through why I like this position, then we'll get into how you're going to play 50-50. The reason I like this so much, if you look at your traditional leg positions, which are your inside positions of outside ashi and honey hole, show of hands, who here plays any honey hole or knows this position and tries to heel it from here? At least a few people. I'm sure you've been in the point somewhere along the line where someone grabs onto you, holds onto you, and then you're stuck in this position. Or they start to come up onto you, stack into you, and then you're stuck down here and you can't really invert underneath very well. This is part of my problem with honey hole, or part of the just inherent problem with honey hole. Our two legs are safe inside, but we don't have anything to stop her from driving into us. That's kind of the issue that we're dealing with here. So this is very powerful in terms of braking mechanics, and it's also very powerful in terms of heel exposure because I could turn on the hips, but it doesn't allow me to control distance at all. If we compare this a little bit to outside ashi, I'll do this side because everyone's sitting. If we compare this to outside ashi, You probably get slightly more braking potential from this position, just because you're on an outside heel hook, and in my opinion, it's probably a little more devastating, although much harder to access. But if you go back to our same heel exposure, we kind of have the same problem here where we don't have super strong heel exposure, in fact, probably worse than the honey hole considerably. But I have absolutely no distance management from this position. I have a very weak outside post that if I have the heel gripped, it's going to be forcing her leg to turn away. But other than in that exact scenario, I think it's kind of risky to play this outside position here versus, again, say 50-50. So looking at the problems from there, what are the benefits from there? Why would anyone use that position then? Again, we would use this one because we have access to an outside heel hook, which is a little more powerful of a break, especially if you're reaping and turning someone over. We would play the honey hole position more, or the strengths or benefits of it is because of our 2 feet are inside. They're definitely safer in this position than in a traditional 50-50. So then if we're playing on the outside with our feet here, what are the big pros of 50-50? The biggest strength by far is the amount of heel exposure you can create for someone here. Regardless of really her positioning, where she's at, a weight difference or anything like that, it's very easy to start to turn and expose this heel, even if I do nothing else. It's very hard for someone to hide the heel in 50-50. It also eliminates the hand fight a little bit, but it does allow her to bring in this second leg for defense, which is a lot of what we're gonna be doing today offensively, is beating this second leg. If you look at, say, honey hole, you would not inherently cross your feet here. This doesn't really get you out of the position or provide you much protection. In fact, the opposite, it gives me what I need to control from where you're at. However, crossing your feet in 50-50 is a fantastic idea. Why? Because you still have access to the heel here, and you are protecting your foot in this position. Now, as we move through these paths, we're always trying to catch the heel hook, which is gonna be the first real technique we go over here in a second. We're always trying to catch the heel hook anywhere along this. And again, I'm giving you guys kind of a broad overview, and then we're gonna get into each one of these techniques specifically. Ideally though, I really don't wanna be in this 50-50 anymore. You wanna be in what's more traditionally called 80-20 or 90-10. These are gonna be your superior, more dominant positions because they start to take away some of the problems that we have from here. 50-50, we're very neutral because she has control over my knee. This is one of the main battles we're going for here. In fact, I would say there's 4 main battles, or 2 battles that are happening offensively and defensively to us in 50-50 at all times. Those battles are who's controlling the knee line. She is trying to get her knee line down and free of where I'm at, or vice versa. I'm trying to get my knee line down and free from where she is, and I'm trying to stop her knee line from dropping in on me. So that's our first major problem, or 2 problems. And then the next is gonna be, I need to separate her feet, and I need to prevent my feet from being separated. I'll give a bit of an asterisk with that, because when you get more familiar with this, I do play an open 50-50 quite a bit. I actually think it's a very strong thing to do once you get used to it. But definitely when you're beginning, you're going to be here and crossing your feet more. So let's remove as much danger as we can. Ideally, we're trying to get here, 80-20 sideways, where now my knee is safe. The only difference in this position is that my knee is up here. And if she was crossing her feet, she'd be trying to hold my knee above her waistline. Does everyone understand what I'm saying here? I want her, inherently, I want to get my knee safe and inside. She wants to get her knee safe and inside. My knee is not safe now. My knee is safe now. So you're getting side on to the knee, right? This is a safer position, and we're gonna go through this here shortly. Even better than this is going to be if I can get my legs crossed and on the outside here. This is, in my opinion, about the strongest leg attack position that you can be in. It gives us the benefits of honey hole, the inside positions we talked about with our 2 legs being crossed, but it also still provides excellent heel exposure from here, a very strong ability to control the legs and control on her hip for when we're ready to break. Downfalls are, I do have a foot that comes up and is exposed, and we'll get to keeping that safe and dealing with that. But the big benefits from here are, what's the issue we said from honey hole and outside ashi? We can't stop them from crowding us, right? A huge part of what we're gonna go over today is gonna be this foot inside. This foot is gonna provide the space we need to defend that. If I'm here in honey hole per se, it's not hard for Katie to reach in and grab me and start to crowd me. If she tries that same thing from here, Even if she gets a good grip on my arm, she starts to get a grip around my head, my shoulders, anything at all, this foot inside is incredibly powerful at pushing and kicking free. Everyone follow so far? Fantastic. We're gonna go over safe ways to go through there and catching the heel hook. Let's start with the heel hook in 50-50. So what are we attacking from 50-50? We're attacking the knee predominantly, but there is a secondary attack on the ankle. That being said, with an inside heel hook, it's almost always gonna be an attack on the knee and damage on the knee before it's really damage on the ankle. With an outside heel hook on this side, it's more likely you can damage the ankle along with the knee. But today, the primary thing we're trying to do is bridge and finish here. Now, there's two ways we can finish this. Both, I think, are right. Both work at the highest level. I'll give you my heavy preference to one and why. One option is going to be to grip this and pull this up and across, which I don't love. It does work, that style. And hand grips, we'll get into that here shortly. But I think that when you start to pull it this way, I think it kind of gives the person on top, I'm turning her the way she kind of wants to go to get out. And it also allows some space for the heel to slip through the elbow, which is something we're going to work here in a bit. The way I'd prefer to attack this heel hook by far is to get this here and I roll my weight up off my hip and onto her ankle from here. So your path of getting this done, and I guess I should go over this too, where your feet should cross. For now, I would say just cross them however you feel comfortable. We'll talk about strengths and weaknesses to how we do it here shortly. But you're gonna cross this, I'm gonna be controlling I'm gonna be squeezing my legs together to control this knee and stop that knee from dropping inside this entire time. We'll start with no feet defense. I want everyone to just go through this heel hook. We'll make sure this is tight. So really all I want you to do from this position is get the 50-50 with your opponent, squeeze. She shouldn't be able to drop her knee, so we're gonna test this and check this. I'm gonna say, hey partner, can you drop your knee through there? She shouldn't be able to drop her knee through the gap. And then all I want you to do is we're just gonna lock up the heel hook from where we're at. To do that, I just want you to grip the calf here, set this right over your forearm, and then if you haven't done this before, do this very slowly. I'm starting to curl my weight up and on my shoulder. So I'm pulling back with my chest as I'm rowing myself off the ground. My butt is not on the ground, my hip is not on the ground. You will, as the person having this applied, you are gonna definitely know whether this is applied correctly or not. If it's not, you will very comfortably be sitting here and you can tell that it's just not quite there. When it's up and the weight's on it, you really, especially in the gym when you're rolling with your friends, you'll get a lot of early taps on this and one-handed taps because nobody wants to get broken while they're training, and they'll just suffice. This will suffice enough to get the bridge. In a tournament, you're gonna have to give it probably a little bit more, but for now, I just want everyone to lock this, hands connected, roll up on this, and then go back. Then the other person's gonna connect their legs. They're gonna squeeze. I'm gonna try to drop my knee line down. She's gonna keep it trapped. She's gonna roll under the heel hook on this side. I'm gonna make sure I can't wiggle anywhere. The weight's on it. Tap, go back. Do this probably, I would say 2 to 4 times, and then switch legs. This is the thing about 50-50. You have a right leg and a left leg. Practice them both. Any questions on this?
Are you tapping from 80-20 or 50-50?
So it's gonna be, if you wanna drop an 80-20, I'm absolutely fine with that. It's gonna be, for now, you can set it either way, honestly. I'll just leave it at that. I don't mind if you rock this up here and you keep your knee up top. I don't mind if you drop the knee in low and grip this and roll on it either. So today's gonna vary a little bit based off how familiar you are with it. So if you feel comfortable dropping 80-20 now, feel free to go right ahead with that. And then,
yeah, so is the braking mechanic trapping the ankle and then hipping in?
hipping in, yes, which we didn't get into. I'm gonna add that with the hand exchange. Really, to get the big break on here, think about it this way. Her toes are trapped here, and I'm maximizing the knee, right? So if I still had her toes, which I let go, I'm pulling my leg back as I'm bridging forward. The toes stay here. This is why it's so devastating, because there's not much mobility in the knee anyway, in any of the ligaments in the knee. They all move 1/4 of an inch in reality. And we have far more than 1/4 inch of braking force from here. Any other questions? Be real quick on this. We're gonna test this, then we're gonna bring it back in. We're gonna go to proper hand attacks and breaking the legs free. 1, 2, 3. I volunteered both of you two to help everyone, but honestly, you guys can drill if you want to. I don't mind.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me. There's only probably like a dozen or 2 dozen groups or whatever.
2 days ago, my big toenail got caught on that and it was just like ripped off. This is
Yeah, so roll so that you want your hips all the way off the ground, like roll so that it's on here. And you should be giving feedback of the amount of pressure you feel.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. And then I'm gonna barely do this, but you're still doing your twist while you're spinning.
Yeah, it's not so much a twist. Now I am just bridging. Now I'm just bridging to go in this, and you won't need to go, very far in this. It's a very, very tight grip.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a scary one. The first time I actually felt this, I remember being like, oh shit.
On the shoulder.
Don't pull it. Yeah, I don't love that, and we'll get into why here in a minute. Yeah, I prefer you rolling up and weight being on this. And think of it almost as like now, like we're crunching up too. And just slow. Yeah, there you go. Yep.
If nothing else, it's giving me a foot cramp.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Speed of legs.
So keep let's back this up a little bit. You're almost, yeah. And I didn't go over this, it's probably my fault. I like where you're at, trapping at the ribs here, but see how his knee is almost, exactly, it's almost slipping through the knee line. So we need to do some maintenance to get this back. So curl his knee back in, crunch yourself back in. Yeah, for now, and we'll get over how to do that properly here in a minute. But yes, this is a better position. Yes, absolutely. Hands together, yes.
I can already feel it.
Better, yep.
Yeah.
You're extending a lot. Pause where you're at. Let me get your other leg. Yeah, just stay there, sucker.
This is terrible. Right.
So you're extending like a lot back, and I do extend a little bit. But if you watch, like I'm almost like rolling up and onto, like I'm almost doing like a reverse crunch onto this. I don't want to just extend, which probably will get me a tap a lot. But the thing is, if I just keep going, there's better odds that his foot just naturally slips out. Where it's here, and I start to roll and crunch myself up and onto this.
Try it again.
Yeah, you're still rolling outwards a little bit, but it is better. I like where you're at a little more. Yeah, and you're sitting on your hip still, and you really should be, like you're laying flat like this, and I'm really more like up. Like I'm up off my hip, and my weight's on him. Like I'm basically holding myself like shoulder, elbow area, and here on the hip. And then roll this enough so that your hand should be able to go underneath of it. Yep. Yeah, roll up on that shoulder. Yeah, there you go. This is looking tight. Nice. What's up, man? How we feeling?
Not great.
Fantastic. So, first thing we're trying to do, catch the toes here on our ribs. Yeah, and probably maybe just a little bit lower than that. However, you will catch some there, but ideally I probably want it about right in there. Yep. And the biggest thing we're trying to get is just the feeling of the weight correct on this. So we're here, slide this arm underneath. Yes, and now what I want you to do, so you're like this right now, start to roll your hip up and onto his leg. Nice and slow, yeah. And the more you start to bring your hip up, so roll, keep going.
Bring this one over too.
Bring this, you should be able to slide a hand off this on the ground. Sort of. You're gonna maybe be able to get the extension and finish on this the way it is, but you're gonna wanna come up a little bit more. I think I'm gonna bring everyone back in the center for a second. All right, I'm gonna add more details to this. I purposefully left some out so people get in the position right, but I still wanna tighten this up just a touch. When we're doing this, right, I've got her legs separated, which we're gonna get to all this. Ideal position is I want her toes here on my ribs. Not quite the armpits, like not high up here, maybe 2 to 4 inches below. 2 to 4 inches below so that this can pinch hard, and I can expose this heel as much as possible, right? This is gonna naturally make you want to roll into the position to bring your hips up. If I start to, don't think of this as like, I guess maybe roll is not the right term. I'm not like roly-poly and then like going down here. I'm reverse crunching so that like I'm pulling my shoulder back and into this. You really wanna make sure that your butt has gotta get off the ground. If I do this here, there's definitely odds I could get the tap, right? I can get braking potential from here for sure. But when I start to crunch back in, the amount of pressure on the foot, and Katie can give feedback, but like from here, notice she was fine. She was absolutely fine. And from here, even with my hands unconnected, her hand rose up and was ready to tap right away. It should feel that way. You should feel a lot of tension on your leg as the uke in this drill, the defensive person who's having this applied to it. So let's make sure that as we do this, as I roll, I do roll on the shoulder, but like I stay tight and I bring my hips up on this. There needs to be enough room so that your hand that's down here on the false grip, this is what we're gonna call this today, the false grip. This hand should be able to release. You should not lose space, and you should be able to slide it under your butt. There should be enough space that this slides through here. That's gonna tell you that your weight is on her leg enough that you can get devastating break from here. Questions on this? So I'm gonna trap the toes 2 to 4 inches below my armpit, connect my hands, and I'll add this in now. This is the false grip that we hold, but when we finish, we rotate this palm down, right? Make sure you guys are doing this. In terms of grips, I'm okay with palm down. I'm okay if you take a butterfly. I'm even okay if you take a reverse butterfly here. Most commonly, this is what I end up getting is the palm to palm where I connect and I roll on top of this. When I'm in the reason we hold the false grip with this is just because it gives my fingers just a little more of a wall to catch if she tries to move her leg away. But the reason we don't finish with this is because, and you guys test this, you'll feel it. From here, it's, you know, your forearm. It's muscle. It's hard, but it's not as dense as bone. It's muscle that's holding on to her, and there's more room for her to move. When you turn this upside down, it's called wristwatch. When you go upside down to this wristwatch, it puts the bone on the bone, and it's far more uncomfortable, and it's far tighter on the arm. So we'll hold the false grip here, and then we'll switch, and then we roll on this and get our weight up enough so that we can send this hand underneath, make sure that we're clearing the ground with our hip. Questions on this? 2 to 3 minutes on this, and we'll be right back here. 1, 2, 3.
Real quick, Evan, can you go over just when people should tap?
That's probably a good one, right? Early, very early. Anytime you feel discomfort on this. Reason being, we've all been armbarred, right? It doesn't take a genius or a black belt to know that when the arm's here, I still have a long way to go before I really need to tap out. And even when it's here, I might still be free based off the elbow, right? The knee doesn't move like that. There's less mobility. There's almost no blood flow. You will not feel it the same way as your muscles being stretched out, right? So really, you're going to tap to this when you start to feel any pressure at all on the knee. And there's a lot of responsibility offensively on the person doing this to not bridge on your opponent. As we talked about, the finishing mechanics would be here and then bridge. I rarely ever need that. If I'm competing, I do that. I don't even do that on my training partners at home, really. So like, it's safe to test it in here, but like, do not bridge hard in this position at all. In fact, most of the time, like when I'm training and I catch them on this, I kind of just hold them here for a minute till they realize that they can't go anywhere and tap. It should feel tight enough that once you've rolled up here and you've hidden this shoulder and you have this, they shouldn't be able to get out, and you shouldn't need to bridge to get the finish. However, if you feel any pressure at all on the knee, or even you'll feel it on the ankle, just tap early. Tap early. Back at it, guys. 1, 2, 3. I'll start down here. How we doing? Yep, I'm good with all that. That looks solid. That looks solid. Yeah, I like that. You've done heel hooks a little bit before?
Just a little bit.
That looks all right. Yeah, I like that. Turn that hand. Now this one's gonna go palm down.
Oh, should I?
He'll feel the difference too. Like right now, it probably feels like nothing. Roll this down, and chop that in, and now go palm to palm and punch that elbow down over top. No, the way you had it, but like put weight into it. Yes, now start to roll on that shoulder. This is looking great. You close to his leg, which is the only reason you can kind of take like a little bit. His hips just aren't super wide, but you could absolutely bridge from here and get the tap. That's very tight. Oh yeah, you're looking for like that hand to come up. Like that really is it. When you look at your partner and all of a sudden like this happens, you're like, all right, I know that it's close. Yeah.
Feels good. I just feel like I mean, I know you.
I think my biggest question,
Yep.
do I want to be down on that hip and the leg? I feel like the higher I'm up, the more I have that pressure to the knee.
So
If I'm here, I feel like I have
it's gonna vary. You were closer to triangled legs, and I didn't go over that. That's one of the things we're gonna go over here in a minute. I prefer to have them like a little bit looser. I don't think it's horribly wrong to do triangle legs. There's just some counters that I think are super deadly, which is why I don't fuck with it. But that being said, you will need that hip to really bite harder if your legs are triangled like that. Especially if there's like, if you guys are close to the same height or he's got a little bit of length on you, you're gonna need a very, very good bite flaring on the triangle leg in order to get that done. You won't need quite as much of a bite as far down when your legs are just like it's standard like crossed in this position. Yeah, that one looked good. Let me see another one. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Yep. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for. That's why I just told them you're looking for your partner to start to do this, because then they know like, okay, there's no fucking around with this one. Like it's time to tap. Yep. I like that. That looked good. What's up, man?
We have to like sit on it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to put weight on his leg. Yes. So see how stretch out he is? Here, trade me out. Let me get your leg, bud. What's your name?
Ben.
I'm Evan. We'll just do this one so you can watch. And what's your name? Nick. So like, I really don't want this to be like super far out here, because even when I start to roll on it, there's just like not a ton of pressure. Like it's just, I can tell you're just chilling. Like you're sitting there not doing anything, right? This really wants to be like we're here and I'm starting to crunch back in and my weight is on this ankle, right? Like I can tell with one hand, you probably like this spot a lot less than me being like out here. Out here, it's like an uncomfortable kind of stretch, right? Here, it's like, oh my God, there's a lot of pressure on my joints. Like I really don't like this spot at all. So like, I don't want to be out here and turning so far like I'm starting to lose this. I want to be here, and then like I crunch this in, and I roll up on top of this.
Yeah, that feels a lot different. So you want it like a little bit closer to your ribs. Like
Yes. Yep. Yeah. But like I'm rolling my weight onto that ankle. I have to. If I don't, they won't get in position. Here, do it to me. Go for it.
So the cable grip's like this?
That's right here is fine for now. You're gonna want this over top. Yes.
Okay.
And now you're gonna want palm to palm. This way?
Okay.
Yes, ideally this is what you want. And now stay tight from here and just start to roll your weight up onto that shoulder. Keep going. This is good. And from here, you would be, I just turned my knee a little naturally on this one. You would be bridging very much down. Okay. If we were here, which is just how it was when I showed it, you'd be bridging more up and out. So just keep that in mind, like we're bridging against the side of this knee. If they do start to turn this way, yeah, you're just bridging down more this direction. And keep this tight here. Yes, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's the next thing we're covering. Yep, absolutely. Go for it, man.
So I'm going
Hook, yep.
this
Yep.
and over here.
Nope, over top. Yep, and it should be this hand, palm down. There you go, yes. Yep, exactly. This is good. And then you're gonna start to roll and say, yeah, this is feeling better. Yeah, it's a little, so you're turning in a little bit much to me, like you're turning down. Crunch that, like your shoulder back. It is like a reverse crunch, yes. So like you're bringing it back as this weight's coming down. Yes, dude, that's much better, much better. And you're trying to roll your weight onto it as much too. So it's like, go ahead and do that same thing. We're here, right there. Yep. Beautiful. How's it feel, young man?
It's good stuff, dude.
All right, guys, back in the center. Questions on this so far? This is how we're going to keep running this. And I'm just going to keep showing it again and again. This is how I learn. I don't know how many people in here, whether you guys cross-train, you're just here, whether you're watching instructionals, I very much believe just drown yourself in the technique, watch it as many times as can be. Whether like I'm at a gym that someone else is teaching it or wherever and someone shows a technique twice and they're like, all right, 1, 2, 3, break. For me personally, it's incredibly hard for me to pick up a lot of details from seeing something 1 or 2 times versus I see it 20 times and every time there's just one more piece to it. You're gonna learn it a lot more, learning 2 to 3 pieces at a time, getting your way cumulatively up to 20 versus, hey, here's everything together. So more specifics on this. And now we're gonna start to get into the real technical details of this position. For the most part, everyone was getting this right. The biggest problem I saw was people coming out here and they were just really far away. We're gonna address that here as we address attacking the legs and kind of beating some earlier stage defense. So assuming she has our leg crossed, this is the most common position you're gonna be in when you guys land in 50-50. And when you get better at it, you'll get better getting to the 80-20 and honestly the 90-10 almost right away. But this is the most common place you're gonna start. How do we win the battle from here, get to that heel hook we talked about, expose her legs, break her legs apart while preventing my legs from being exposed and keeping her knee in while trying to get mine safe or at least protecting it. That's what we're trying to get to here. I've seen a lot of things and I kind of gave you guys some autonomy and let everyone go however they wanted to. I saw this one and I used to use this a lot. In fact, Wes and I used to drill this all the time of like this snow plow and this catch. I used to use that. It definitely, there's times that I use it sometimes still. It's definitely harder when you're giving up the weight and like there's a couple big boys in here, but I don't see many huge dudes in here. So like you guys could all be giving up the weight if you're doing open weights or fighting in some bigger divisions. My heavy preference on the way to attack these legs and to break these legs free. It's not so much that snow plow style of digging the elbow, but one of the important fundamentals of keeping my knee keeping my knee safe is squeezing and controlling over top of her knee, right? She's trying to do the same. At any point throughout this, I'm trying to spot this gap, right? You will almost always get to this gap unless there is a time that it won't happen. If they triangle their legs, this gap sometimes becomes incredibly hard to find. We'll get to that in a second, but for now, we're gonna say we're here and I'm spotting the gap. I'm gonna reach this arm all the way through and I'm going to grip the toes. Right? I don't want to grip the heel. I'm specifically reaching all the way through, gripping the toes. My opposite arm is doing the same thing, grabbing toes here, right? Her legs are crossed. My outside arm is shooting for a gap to reach through and grip toes. My top arm is gripping the toes on her outside leg. Order of operations, it's fine to actually do this either way. You can definitely, someone could be hiding their toes here. You could have to drop back, push to make this space, then reach this through. This could also be the gap was just there initially and I'm able to spot it. I grip the inside leg and this outside leg. Now, once I have this is gonna seem a little strange at first, but when you get this hand position down, this is, again, this is my preference, my go-to every time I'm in 50-50. I'm gonna hold both feet and I'm gonna start to steer her legs apart. Depending on strength, I can honestly usually just separate these. We're battling the hamstrings. It's not a strong muscle group. It's a lot easier to overpower than, say, trying to fight her quad with my arms. But if by chance you are dealing with a very powerful unit and you're here and they're biting down very hard, I'm just simply gonna flare this arm up. I keep control over both these toes as I steer this one right to the middle of the ribs where we talked about. I hold this one as long as I can. Move this elbow directly underneath, and now I'm exactly where I wanted to be. I ratchet and I roll right up on the leg. I switch to the grip of my choice. It's almost always on this one gonna be the palm down, the gable, the hand to hand. And when we do this, this is the same for here, and when we drop, I bite through and I drop this elbow over top to create counter pressure over top of her leg. So I'm pinching and pulling her toes in as I'm dropping this elbow over top and I'm rolling on top of the leg. In tournament setting, this would be our bridge. For finish, more often than not, you're gonna get your tap right away from here. Back from the top, Her legs are connected. If there's an open gap here, I shoot this hand straight through. Grip, grip, I drop, I steer these apart. I don't let go of this. Do not do this, hey, I'm broken free. No. You gotta make sure that you steer this. I put this right into my armpit, well, just under my armpit. My hand kind of hits my armpit on this one just naturally. It puts the toes in the right place. I roll this over, catch, roll on top. Feet are crossed, I reach through. And again, if I can't get any space early, and this definitely happens, that like there's no gap. She got a very tight triangle, the leg's very trapped, and I can't get through here. You're gonna probably drop back here then, and then push this. Then all of a sudden you have a giant gap, right? And again, this isn't a super strong muscle group. This is one of the best ways to get the legs apart. If it's super tight, if it's not super tight, I go through the center to begin with. If it is very tight and I can't find that gap, I drop back, I push this up, then I take that gap, control, steer, hand it off, roll on top, connect my gable, bridge. Questions on this? For this drill, and we'll get to this in a second, cross your legs loosely down here. I think this is the better way to cross them anyway, in my personal opinion. You can also do this. We'll get to this here in a second when we bring everyone back in. But for the sake of this drill, legs cross low so we can spot the gap and get the feet on this. Questions? Get with your partner, 1, 2, 3. In a minute. Hey, cross these feet too. Other way, other way. There you go, yep. I guess maybe I'll just, everyone look right here for a second too. Extremely easy. I shouldn't say it like that, but just everyone be very, very aware of this. When you're digging this out, and I've done this before too, and we're sitting here doing this, make sure you're not leaving your heel exposed. It's just a good habit to get in now. You should be practicing, like your feet should be crossed and you should be pinching this top leg over top of her leg to control the knee line the entire time. I don't ever want to, the leg I'm protecting is the inside leg. I don't want to cross my feet this way. It's very easy for her to separate and get the heel still. So like the leg that's inside, I'm crossing over top of that. And I'm squeezing so that my leg is tight over her knee. I'm making sure to be aware and protect myself. If by chance your partner is going to do this and you feel their legs open, give them a quick just honesty check. Hey, make sure you cross your legs and slap a heel hook on them real quick. Cool? Back to it, 1, 2, 3. What'd she say, potty? Yeah. Here, man, you can do a couple of these on me. Go for it. What's your name?
AJ.
AJ, I'm Evan. Nice to meet you.
I was at the Jiu-Jitsu tournament and I got first place.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. How many matches did you have?
It was 4.
Nice, dude. Yeah, they're doing a ton of those now.
So I'm grabbing this one.
Yeah, and clamp this. Yeah, like that. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, because it should be like, I shouldn't be able to cross and hold this at all. Beautiful, dude. Very nice. Yep. So then we're here. Just give you a chance to feel it too.
You said am I hiding my heels behind your back, and then you're just
somewhat. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, because it's like, where are my heels safe? So a lot of times when my legs are open, I'm pulling this like very tight.
Okay.
But when I have them crossed, I am sometimes trying to hide this more on the back, which this is kind of part 2 of what we're going to get to in a second, of like trying to turn this direction, which is going to teach you a lot more about the proper position. But for the most part, you're here, and I'm either biting and pulling them next to the hip here, or if I'm turning down, I'm hiding this leg a little more behind the back, because, and we didn't get over this yet, 50-50 is actually rarely played like this. It's almost always played like this, where one of us is on the top, and this, where one of us is on the bottom. And where I'm going to put my legs is going to vary based off those two. So for now, this is a safe spot to keep it in. Go to the other side?
Yeah.
How long have you been training for, AJ?
2 years now.
Hell yeah, dude. All here?
Yeah, all here.
Fantastic.
The home gym. Right here. And then this one.
Yep. Yep, there you go, nice. Yeah. Your other side felt better, but that side felt good. Good job. You're good. I'm going to walk around for a minute, AJ. All right.
You're not breaking.
So this one goes between both legs. Okay. There you go. Then grip the bottom of his foot. Nope, still goes between, brother.
Oh, my bad.
There you go. That's where I want to be ideally. Now he's gonna be crossing. I might not get that far down, but that's where I want to be now. This one's just gonna grip the bottom of this foot.
Okay.
Nope, other foot.
Okay.
Yeah, so now you give a very slight push on this one. Yes, as I steer this one into my armpits. Yes.
Okay.
Now you're gonna need to come over top of this elbow.
Like this?
So, whoop, there you go. Yes.
Okay.
And you would connect your hands from here. See, his leg's almost out. You're almost losing it. You can let go of this now because you've steered it where you want it to be, and you've got your false grip, right? Tighten all this up, scoop that through. Yes, much better. Now go to your palm to palm. Not quite that direction. This way, yes, exactly. And then put that elbow over top of his leg, over top of the leg.
Okay.
There you are. Now start to roll your weight nice and slow over top of this. Bring your hips up if you need to. Start to put more weight on him. Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, hell yeah. He's pretty long from here, which you can still get him. Like you can still get long 50-50 heel hooks from here, but my preference is to crunch back into him. Yeah. This is a lot more devastating of a position, honestly, than where you were. Yeah, the time you'll get the long one, and maybe I'll go over this, but I do like to go for this like very long 50-50 when we're here, and people, I'll probably cover this, but they make the mistake of grabbing this wrist. And honestly, go ahead. He grips this. I can almost always circle this through, grip this, and now I have like a yeah, this is actually one of my favorite things to do to people. And then I can kind of hold him here as I then tighten this up and get this bridge. That's one of the only, like from there, I'll play like a very long 50-50 when I trap his arm, just because like, and you can feel it, it's really hard to get your fucking arm out of this position. And it's like, it's not like it hurts, you're just very, very stuck. And even if you have his legs connected, I have a lot of time now to disconnect. That's the thing about it. It's like we could be playing this game for a minute and it's very hard for him to circle that through. But otherwise, I'm gripping this and it's not gonna be quite as long. Like once I have this, I'm crunching more backwards into this and then bridging forward.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah. So you need to get a little more bend in the knee. Yes, that's gonna be a lot better. Yeah, yep.
Thanks.
How's it feeling, guys?
I'm having kind of trouble with like reaching and getting it in. Can you check?
Yep.
So right here. So grab this.
Yep.
So grab this.
Yep.
And then do I let it go right now?
Here's the thing. I didn't go over that yet. No, I'm going to hold it as long as I can. But the reality is not a lot of people are going to let you hold it for super. That's the thing about it. Once you get here, you won't get a direct handoff finish a lot of the time. It's gonna be, you get here, I don't know how familiar you are with it, you're gonna get here, and it's either gonna be elbow hop, elbow dig, or invert there. Is really what this sets up more than a direct heel hook, because people usually, once they get here, they start kicking this leg for yes.
So then just go here.
Yeah, and put that elbow over top the leg too. Yeah, there you go. Keep going, he's just flexible. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good. And here's another piece of advice. Let me get your leg again. You can pull that one out, it doesn't matter. Cross your feet like you did. So in this situation, you had this one, and he had this one very flat, and you look like a solid dude. So he could probably keep that foot pretty flat. Like, it's gonna be sometimes really hard for me to get that. Even if like I drop back here, I might be able to slide under, but one of the best things you can do to make this happen, keep your legs together, keep this strong, is I start to flare this leg. Because now it starts to create space for me to take this leg away. If we sit here, like if I just try to get this one, it's actually very hard. Like he can honestly keep this in a pretty good spot because gripping from the top, I just don't have any strength, right? So I really want to get underneath. So a lot of times I'll start to pick this up, and then I have a lot of strength to grip this, steer these how I want, and then get into the position. Yeah, absolutely, dude. I think that's one of the best things you can do to learn this thing. Yeah, absolutely. So if you have your feet crossed here, I'm gonna grip this, I'm gonna grip this, and you can do whatever with your feet. It really doesn't matter. Because you can tell, like, I really, this isn't a loose grip. Like I am squeezing the fuck out of this. And like, I am steering, exactly. Yes. And then usually I'm getting here to finish, and I'm rolling up with my hips on it. This would be where I bridge. But you can feel this. This is where I'm trying to get to. Is just my weight being here. The bridge is easy from here. Hell yeah. Yep. How's that feel? Hell yeah.
Pretty good.
Your finish is pretty fair. Go back and do it again. Cross your feet. Keep your feet crossed this time. This is a little better. I think maybe you're being a good partner. Yeah, do this on me.
Okay.
Because here's the thing I'm trying to get out of this. Go ahead, separate my feet. If you're not, go ahead, keep going. Do it. See, if you're not controlling the toes, it's really hard for you to get anything going from here.
Okay.
Like the grip's on the top of the feet, so keep your feet crossed for me here, right? If I try to separate this, these grips suck. Like they're not good. Even if I reach this through and you're kind of like here, bro, I'm never gonna get, it's gonna be so hard to actually move someone's foot. I really wanna be here, squeezing these suckers together. Yes, and then depending on where this is, sometimes I'll flare to get this up, but it's the same thing. Like I'm literally here and here. Okay. Right? Like I am squeezed. It should almost feel like I'm being fucking footlocked. Like it should almost feel like you're being footlocked to ankle locked together here. And then I steer this because like, bro, you would never let me, if I did this, like you would, like this, you would never let me actually get your feet. Like they would be here and I just wouldn't be able to separate. It has to be pinching, steer, ramp, over top.
Okay, can you do the finish on me?
Yeah,
real quick,
dog.
just so I can see how it
So we're here, I rotate up, my weight is on this and I would be bridging into the knee.
Okay.
If they're sitting in this position, a lot of times you're gonna end up rolling belly down, or if they try to turn, I'm gonna end up rolling belly up.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, guys, back in the center.
Seven's probably a good cutoff time. If you want to go later, that just means we won't have much time to roll.
Cool with me. Whatever. Yeah. So we'll try to get a lot in the next 15-minute window or so. With it being about 15 more minutes, we'll honestly, I don't mind talking on it, but we'll probably cut out the standing portion of this and just get into or continue along. Like, what do we do against someone on the ground when we get to this 50-50 position, and kind of real world application to it. Everything we did so far was great, and everyone's starting to pick it up very technically. It looks very good. Here's the reality about this position and this finish we're doing. You'll almost never, well, I say this, but like it'll probably happen when you guys first start doing it. You'll almost never actually be sitting here. Unless you and your buddy are actually both learning 50-50 together and you guys sit there like making eye contact. You're like, hey, I'm gonna heel hook you, I'm gonna heel hook you. This actually is not really an organic position of this right here, right? Usually this 50-50 game is being played with a top person and a bottom person. I think there's benefits and weaknesses to kind of both. And what do I mean by that? Is usually one person is here trying to hide their feet on the bottom and one person has their feet exposed on top. So don't be shocked when you go to start to do this that not a lot of people sit here in this position when you're just chilling and hanging out. It's just not a supernatural spot. If you want to get someone to stay in this position or you land here, the main control you're gonna use for that is your outside leg is gonna always hold that knee. We started with turning in and our leg holding it, but my outside leg is gonna hold this knee as much as this top, my top leg is gonna hold her knee because I don't want her knee slipping, right? So I'm holding this at all costs. Now, that being said, which side's right, which side's wrong in terms of the 50-50? I personally play the top side just a little bit more. The drawbacks of this are my feet are exposed. They're exposed for a heel hook. They're up in the air. Now they're crossed, but they're still exposed. The benefit of this, and we didn't quite get to it today, but it's a lot easier for me to start to turn this corner and get to 80-20 or even 90-10. The benefits of the bottom position is your feet are gonna be far safer. They're on the ground. It's a safer spot. And if you want to disengage and you're not trying to battle the 50-50, you're trying to get out of the 50-50, this is the side you want to be on generally. Which I guess actually I'll talk on that for just a quick second because it'll be an important thing for you guys to do as you all try to stifle each other as everyone's trying to heel hook from 50-50 for the next couple weeks. But when we are here, just as general defense, in fact, maybe, I guess I'm kind of zigzagging, but I'm trying to get through these last few minutes. Defense might be a better option for us to go for. I don't mind giving you guys more offense and what we would do. I guess I'll give you one more grip exchange on this because we talked about what do we do if their feet are crossed, and we went over that break. The reality is that this Well, we'll touch on legs triangle. If legs are triangle, right, and you can't find that gap, I'm gonna use one arm to get this done. And I'm gonna talk on this and we're gonna drill this with the next section. So I want you guys to be sure to drill this. If my partner has their legs triangle, why is this a good idea? Why is this a bad idea? Very strong. The legs are trapped together. It's hard for me to break. It's hard for me to spot a gap. The danger with this, and this is why I don't love to play this, the toe hold counter is a very, very, very real possibility when your legs are triangled. When your legs are crossed, like relatively loosely down here like this, and I'm kind of hiding this behind her back, she can go to toe hold me. And even if she gets this grip, I usually can kick free, hold the knee, and I don't even need to lose the position to get back to the 50-50. However, if that toe hold comes on while my legs are triangled, this is a devastating one because my other leg is trapped inside and I can't get it out. I can't push and make space. Even a bad toe hold that's not properly applied, if they have control over your opposing leg, your opposing hip, you're not getting out of this. And although the heel hook's a stronger move, you're not going to counter this toe hold with this heel hook. And this is the danger of playing this leg triangle position. That being said, if you don't want to go for the toe hold, which is a fine move, the reason I don't love the toe hold myself, even if her legs are triangled and I go for this, I kind of leave my feet behind a little bit myself anyway. They're a little exposed. I'm way over here. And honestly, because you're so turned, if your legs separate from here, usually your inside leg's dangling and they can get a heel hook. So my preferred method to attack this, sorry, Garrett would just make you spin. This is tied up and this is here. I'm gonna hold the knee with my far leg. I'm gonna swim this through, and same concept, I'm gripping the toes, right? I reach through, I grip the toes, and here's how we clear this, because I only have one arm to do it now, not two. My one arm, my elbow is going to lift and clear, and then I'm going to try to shoot and stay under the heel. If I lose the heel and it gets down, that's fine. Because our primary task is to get these legs separated. And this is the last portion of kind of what we're going to go to, and then maybe defense if we have a moment. But her legs are crossed here. I'm going to hold the knee, reach all the way through on the toes, flare my elbow up. I keep my hand as much under the toe as possible. I swim it under, and then I would roll down for my 50-50 heel hook finish. Now, one more time on this grip. It's here. My forearm holds the knee. I don't want to do this without holding this knee. She might drop it. Forearm holds the knee, swim through, toes, not the heel, toes. If you guys have ever seen the match with Tex Johnson versus Felipe Pena, which is probably like 6 or 7 years ago now, but this is exactly what happened. And Felipe is a fantastic 50-50 player. And Tex is a fair leg locker himself, but the reason this worked, Felipe went to basically post his leg down to hide from 50-50. Tex had this. He flared this up. He kept right underneath the toes. He never hit the ground, slid through, and he got this heel hook. Probably almost undoubtedly the best real win that Tex ever had in his career. Bringing this back together, I say that, yeah, someone knows about the Gordon win, but that's not like a real thing. I bring this back together with breaking these legs apart because you should look at these two things kind of as different means to the same end. The reality of me getting here and here and breaking this, it's great. You'll get this on beginners. But what's going to happen more often than not is once you steer these apart, you're going to be able to continue to control this leg, but you're going to lose this leg a lot, which is going to lead us to the two ways that you're probably most likely going to get this heel hook finish. Whether I keep this leg or not, once I've broken this through with this grip or with this grip, it doesn't matter. My main goal from here is really to drop my elbow in front of her leg and get both my arms in position. This is the most likely position you're going to be in against a competent leg locker who knows how to defend themselves. The reason I want to be here is because I did all the work to break the legs apart. Why do I want her to reconnect and be safe again? I don't. That's the main thing I'm trying to get done. So whichever hand position you use based off their leg configuration, the main spot you want to get to is here. And here's going to be your two primary finishes, 3 if you include the invert. But when we're here and I have this elbow in position, this is basically what we've been doing the whole time now. My free hand, once I've separated this, goes to the calf, and this is called the elbow hop. I'm going to bridge myself up and simply set her right into the heel hook, hands clasped. So she's here. Whichever leg break we had to use, it doesn't matter. We break apart. I keep separated, If I can get this all the way, fantastic. I will take it at any point. But assuming we don't, we're here. Now I need to elbow hop. My legs are staying tight. Defense is strong the whole time. I grip on her calf. I bridge up, and I just set down. I bring myself, the same thing as that heel hook finish. I'm bringing myself up off the ground, and then I'm just politely setting her down in the heel hook. This is where I now get my grip over top. There's my finish. The alternate method, I know I'm giving you guys about 3 or 4 things here in the last few minutes, is going to be if I break these apart and she starts to really point and hide her toes from here, which is a great way to defend yourself from 50-50. She's hiding the heel, she's hiding her toes, she's pointing away. I'm gonna take the same grip, I'm gonna drop on my side, but now I'm gonna elbow dig. I'm just gonna pull this elbow back, the heel drops into position, I connect and bridge. So either hand position is going to get me there. I just have to separate her legs. Remember, that's our main offensive game that we're playing. The first game is I have to separate her legs. The second game is I have to control her knee. My defensive things, I have to keep my legs together and I have to keep my knee safe as much as possible. We reach through, we grip, we break, we steer. She kicks this leg free. I don't have that. That's fine. I now put myself in between. If she's pulling this tight and it's sitting here on the ground, this is going to be my elbow hop. I hold the calf, I bring myself up, I set her down right into the position, and then I go wrist watch, bridge. If she's pointing the toe, the elbow hop won't work. No matter how much I want to, it just won't go into that position. So I roll on my side as we did before. I keep that strong bend in the knee. I cycle my elbow back. Her heel drops right in place. Pull right back through. Connect. Bridge. Questions on that? I would say rep that the last few minutes. If we want, we can add in defense in a bit. It's kind of completely up to you guys. But otherwise, any questions on it? Grab your partner and rep it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no. These feet stay crossed, my dude. Yeah. Kind of. You got this one looping through. It needs to come over top now. Yep. Yeah, and you don't have his heel. See how it's... So from here, yep, get a good bite here, get a good bite here. Start to roll on the side, we're gonna go to an elbow hop. This is gonna be here, this grips his calf. Now, bring your hips up, so do this, right, up, as you bring his leg up with you. Bring it up with you, and then just set it right over top of your hand. Not quite, here, watch me do one. Let me get your leg again. Boom, here we are. It's sitting right here, keep your heel locked to the ground, right? I can't get this, I can't take this up. I hold this, I bring me and his leg up, right? If I just try to lift it, keep your leg on the ground. Maybe, like I maybe, but like the reality is against someone big or strong, no, it's not gonna happen. So I grip this here and I bring this up and then I drop into this position. So I clear the heel and then I catch with my elbow or my armpit right on that toe.
Or it's more like that.
It's still going to be the palm to palm. It's the exact same finish. Yeah, exact same finish. We're just going over how they're going to defend it and how you're going to try to get there. Yeah, dog, absolutely. Yeah, why, your partner retarded? I'm just kidding. So either break, yeah. So this is going to reach through, get the bottom of my feet, dude. You need, yeah, way strong control. And I'd say just below that, so you can right there. Right there. This is going to be about the best. Like you are literally trying this. Like it should almost feel like I'm ankle locking the guy with his toes there. Okay. And then this one's gonna grip the bottom of the feet.
This one here?
Well, if you're here, if you're doing, yeah, for this one, you're gonna have to grip this guy on the bottom of my foot. There you go, yes, now steer it apart. And now this is what's gonna probably happen. They're gonna kick that leg free and now we're in this battle, which is why we're covering. Stay up, stay up, stay up. Yes, this slides down to the ankle. Yep, and now bring yourself up. Yeah, dude, there it is exactly. And you'll feel them go back to that. You'll feel like, so don't bring yourself up and just try to lift me with your arm.
Just with the arm?
Yeah, or your hip or whatever. You can tell like I can keep it pretty well down. And now get that grip, bring everything up and together. Yep, not quite enough. Yeah, and make sure you're keeping yourself safe here too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, feet crossed. Yep, absolutely.
And it's this grip?
Yep, yeah, this is great. Well, I mean, that's the okay one. I'd way prefer it being this way, yeah. And the difference, here, feel it for a second. If we're here, like even if I bite this and I put some pressure on, I mean, I'm sure it's not pleasant, but it's not painful, right? This is definitely different. Like this is just soft. This takes up just a little more space, exactly, and then puts that bone right on it. Yeah, huge, exactly, perfect. Yep. Yep. What's up, my man?
So how are we supposed to get, if my it's pointed out, how is he supposed to get through? Like if my feet are just...
Like that?
Yeah.
I would just heel hook. You should do it to me. Do what you think is the defense. I don't think you were overly safe from here. So you're saying...
Okay, so how are you doing that? Like,
so it's going to base off how they're trying to defend. Are they pulling their leg back, trying to keep this free, or are they pointing their toe and hiding it? These are the two main ways they're going to try to defend.
Yeah, so
okay, so when you're pointing the toe, yeah, exactly. Because you're right. Because an elbow hop, I mean, I might get it, but it's not ideal, right? What I want to do is I want to drop down here, bridge, and scoop through. So this is the elbow dig.
Okay.
When that toe starts pointing, this is where I roll on that side, my hips drive in to get a bend, and I draw this elbow back. And then there's my catch on the heel hook to go through. So do this to me.
so...
Foot's pointed. Yeah, you see how it just falls right in the pocket? And if you try to do the elbow hop to it, it just doesn't work. There's just there's no heel to get.
Yeah.
So you just drop on that side and dig through. Remember to keep your heel, tight. There you go, perfect, that's exactly it. Yeah, and honestly, like, it doesn't take a long time to get this right. Like, literally you rep it for a month or a few weeks on people, and you get really good at the elbow dig and the elbow hop and knowing when to go for each one. Yep, absolutely. Bottom of the feet on this one. Yeah, remember? Yeah.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay, like
that
this.
way, yep. Because you want to be able to push. Keep your feet together. You should be able to, exactly, and make tons of space there. Steer, yes. Yeah, and honestly, bro, you got long arms. You were one of the few people I'd recommend you could have gone to the butterfly grip from there too, if you felt more comfortable with it. Gotcha. I don't do it a ton from 50-50, so but that's reverse butterfly. Keep this one where it is. Grip this heel.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this grips, usually this one's on the outside and grips over top. Yeah, right there. So I'm just like this and this. So basically, you're in here, right? Okay. And I'll take that when I can if my arms can reach it. And you've got longer arms, so you'll probably hit it a fair amount.
Thank you.
Yep. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, but the right way.
Figure 4 your legs.
Triangle your legs. Right?
How did you go like right here?
Here. Switch, do it to me. So if we're here, and we've got this, right? You're gonna reach under this leg and grip my toes.
With my closed, this arm or the other arm?
So it's gonna be the top arm, the one higher. Yeah, because I'm reaching through and gripping here. So that one, yep. And I'm gonna grip the toes, exactly. Yeah, and like, dude, people will try to hold here, but I'm telling you, you just start to flare your elbow up. Exactly, keep going. And it's slow and steady like that, keep going. Up more, yes. And now the feet are separate. And this is where the next stage of the battle usually begins.
And you'll try to get it, and I'll try to.
Yeah, however, yeah. So if my foot's here and I'm just hiding it, this is gonna be good elbow hop for you. Exactly. And if it's like, I didn't go over this, but if it's like really hidden like that, grip this knee, and usually then, like you can rock back and you can just dangle it and get like a really good catch to it. Yes. And then now when you do that, now do a big elbow hop, boom, which you're already in the position, land. Yep. If the toes are pointing and they're hiding this direction, elbow dig, beautiful. Yep, perfect. Yes.
You wanted for the submission to like get it. Do I crunch down and like make myself as tight as possible? Or
somewhat, because I want to get, I ain't going into a ton of detail, I want to keep as much bend as possible. You can get it if the leg's out here. There are times it does happen, but the reality is this is where I want it to be. It's like you see, and you can just tell from your partner, he tensed up right away, versus we were here, he's just chilling. I mean, like, and if I start to bridge, it's not like you don't realize there's a problem. There's definitely a problem, but there's a problem he can deal with, and he still has defenses in place for. Versus like, when we're here, this is a lot scarier of a problem because this is a way weaker position for the knee, and I have a lot of bridge potential from here. And from here too, remember, our secondary attacks this ankle. The more I'm back here, the more power and pressure is applied on this ankle, the more my weight's sitting on this ankle when we're here. When we're out here, it's just a lot less. He's far more comfortable in the position. There's one, I showed it to one other group. There's one time I go to that long one. I don't remember, I don't think it was you guys. The only time I go to a super long 50-50 like that is generally if they grab my top wrist with their arm. Yeah, people do this all the time. And I circle this and I connect my feet around his arm in this position. And this buys me a shitload of time to separate this. And usually you'll still get a bridge to finish from here. This is one of the only times I play like a super long 50-50 style. Otherwise, it's here and I'm crunching and bridging up where I'm powerful.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing.
Hi. Yeah, you need to get a little more bend in that knee.
I'm feeling, it feels like a toe hold almost.
Yeah, yep. And now start like backwards crunch. Pull your arm back this direction, crunch back into him. Not quite, more like we're here, and I'm pulling this back. And yeah, don't do it super hard on his shit. But this looks better already, and you still have a lot more angle you can honestly take. But this looks better from where you're at. If you start to roll, yeah.
I don't know. I still feel ankle.
Do it to me. It's okay that it's ankle. It's going to be more ankle the straighter the leg is. The straighter the leg is, the more it's going to be devastating on that ankle. The more bend, the more it's going to be on my knee.
It feels like it's actually going to roll my ankle. It feels like a submission.
Yeah, see, so stay tighter, chest over top of this. Yes, this is good. Yep. Start to roll down on that side. Keep this tight. Now lift your butt up. It's not off the ground. Yeah, that's what you want. You want this arm to be able for you to let go and swing this underneath you. Yeah, you want to have that much space because from here, like there's no immediate retraction from me. Like this is where you want to be. Nice work. All right, guys, back in the center. All right, we're down to our last, 5, 10 or so minutes on this. To review, I'll review everything really, really quickly. I'll go over a couple defensive drills for you guys to work on after this whenever you guys want, just to stay safer from positions.
Can I add one thing? Can you just show the standing stuff just so we can get a visual?
Yep, absolutely. So, and I think 50-50 versus standing, I think is it's a very, very, very strong position. In fact, when people approach, if you watch no-gi passing, there's really only like 4 major ways that it happens. People try to crush and pressure over top of you. That's like your body locks, your smash passes. They try to go over top. Those are your floating passes. They try to go under, which is your double unders, or they try to go around your legs. And those are your toriandos. When people approach you standing, especially the around the leg style passing, to me it's almost like a smorgasbord of leg. There's so much opportunity. The problem if someone's attacking me on the ground, it's not that I can't get a leg lock, but I have to elevate them generally first. I don't have to do that when they enter standing passing. And the 50-50 is very, very available from standing passes. In fact, I think probably besides shin on shin to outside or to like a standard ashi position is probably the easiest position to get to. The next easiest position is probably 50-50. Just to go through, I'll talk about why I think it's important, and then I'll go over a couple of just the entries I do if you want to stand up. So if we compare, just as we compared 50-50 to honey hole and outside ashi standing, or on the ground, let's compare it standing as well. 50-50 on the ground, well, we'll get to it last. Honey hole from her standing is a pretty good spot, honestly. The problem with being here, or the big drawback, is the same if she's on the ground. I don't have much to stop her from stacking and getting in. And if I can't get this leg, although I have 2-on-1 here, man, I have a training partner from back up north. Wes knows him. His name is Mantis. If you've ever rolled with him or seen him, this dude is a monster, and he's probably like 230, and he's one of those guys that's just like too dumb to tap, honestly. So it's like every round with him is like a kill round. And man, we ended up here so many times, and after a while, he realized, I knocked him over several times. I got several submissions from here. We've been training together for over a decade, but he realized that when we got here, like I couldn't sweep him. And it sucked, but I realized that one day too. Like I literally couldn't knock him down from this position. And I'm like, it's the strongest position. Why doesn't it work that way? There's just almost no ability to turn the hips. And she can easily start to drive me into like a leg drag style position, and I lose this whole game, right? Compare this to outside ashi, which generally the progression is people go standing ashi here. They pull this out, they go to outside ashi. The thought process behind this is from standard Ashi, I can reap, expose the heel, and outside Hashi, I have the breaking potential to make that happen. The downfall is if I lose this heel at all, outside Ashi is almost useless against a standing opponent, in my opinion. And Wes and Keita can certainly weigh in. They're both black belts that play legs a ton. I almost never go to outside Ashi anymore because I think this is such a weak position against a standing person. If we look at 50-50 now, my feet are on the outside, but our biggest strength over 50-50 was the heel exposure, right? That heel exposure turns into sweeping potential when I'm on the bottom from here. It is very, very, very easy to sweep my partner and knock them down. The other benefit, or the two other benefits I would say, it's very, very easy to get to, in my opinion. I play reverse De La Riva a ton. If you guys play reverse De La Riva at all, it is very easy to get to 50-50 from here. It's not a hard position to hold someone catch and then push into this, especially if they're standing passing. And honestly, even if you miss all of this, and I'm here playing, and she's just quick around my guard, completely passes me, go ahead, we're here. I can almost always catch 50-50 through this position too. And now, probably the predominant strength of this standing, even if I'm in 50-50 here standing, I am very, very close to backside 50-50, which this is really your absolute strongest leg lock position. I know he said 90-10 outside Senkaku, which this is pretty much that, but in this position, she's also turned the opposite way. It is very easy to get to this position from standing 50-50, and once you get here, it's incredibly easy. Like, almost no one escapes this. You have control over the leg, you have control over the knee. She's not even facing the right direction. Her appendages aren't even near a defensive state at all. This is very strong. In fact, to talk about the strength of 50-50, bring my story full circle, the way I dealt with Mantis after a while, and it took me getting smashed several times to really realize this, but I would come here and I would get these honey hole entrances on him, and the way that I dealt with him crushing me into and breaking me into this position is I just simply opened up, went back to the 50-50, and rolled through to the other side. So in my opinion, 50-50 versus standing opponent is one of the easiest things to do. And like, I know I showed it briefly, but like one of my absolute favorite entrances is someone hits me with a really fast athletic pass. I just keep their hips up, circle through, and come into this backside 50-50 position. It's almost like a free shot at one of the absolute best positions. If you do get to 50-50 standing and you don't know what to do, or you don't remember any of those fancy things, just sweep them. It's very, very easy. Once this leg's here, I'm just simply turning my hips out and she's dropping. And look where we landed, right where we've been playing all day. We know what to do from here. In fact, if you land in this position, you off balance this well. If you look at just naturally where I landed, you should do the same thing. What did I do? Elbows in, arms in between her legs. I don't want her to connect her legs and start this battle. And big sweeps from standing 50-50, you will almost always be able to knock someone down from here, keep the legs separated, and then immediately start to go into your heel hook finishes. Questions on any of that?
Kind of a dumb question, but in a tournament setting, is that outside Ashi legal for the sweep?
It's legal, but you're not gonna, as far as I know, I don't really do point stuff. It's not a reap, so I'm gonna say it's absolutely reap. You wouldn't be able to do the honey hole. So she stands up. If you did this, this is a reap, right? Like this is a reap. If we were in outside Ashi though, whoop, there's technically no reap from here. And you could try this, but one of the big reasons I abandoned this position, there's almost no sweep potential. And you can get this with like your buddy and your training partners, and you can try this. But I would say Keita probably has to give moderate resistance. And honestly, it's incredible. My best bet is to expose this, but even that's hard to do once we're in this position. It's a very good, honestly, when people take outside Ashi, I mean, this is just my own personal preference. In fact, Wes and I started to play this way years ago because we used outside Ashi a ton. And I almost never use it anymore, honestly, because we just ended up like countering each other nonstop. And there's very easy back takes to do from there. Throw one more technique. I guess you can get this on film. You guys could do this. But another reason I don't like outside Ashi, if she has me in outside Ashi, this is actually another one of my favorite entrances to get to 50-50 and to get to 90-10 on her. People think that the mainstream narrative is that like this is the better spot for her, and I think people are coming around more to this. I don't think so, because like it's very hard to ankle lock someone from here unless you're much, much, much taller and already have the feet on the hips. And it's very hard to expose the heel, but she can get here. It is not hard for me to throw this. Even if she starts to go ahead, you can grip either heel hook, ankle lock, doesn't matter. Whatever she's going for here, she can take her grip. It's very easy for me to get this leg through, and I push pull, right? So we're here. She's got my leg. I throw this over, I push pull, and where'd I end up? In the 90-10, right? This is exactly where we wanted the whole time. I know we only briefly covered this, but this is really what I want. It can easily happen the same way to 50-50. It's just you wouldn't do it because you're basically going a longer route to an inferior position. If she's holding this here and I bring this over, I could push pull and go back to 50-50 here, but I would more often than not bring this over, push to kick free, free my knee line, and now I'm just in 90-10. Most people are gonna either turn back and you end up in your standard 90-10, or they turn down and you're gonna go to the exact same elbow dig that we did before, bridge and finish. We went over a ton. Any other questions? I mean, admittedly, like I said, we'll be here a few more minutes. I could go over 50-50 for hours and hours and hours. It's, like I said, to me, it's one of my favorite positions because I think people underestimate it. I think they suck at defending it. I don't think people drill it a lot. Oh, and I did promise a very simple defensive drill that you guys should do. We do this all the time at my gym. Maybe not as much recently, so we might, again, one person's in, well, both people are in 50-50. And what we're gonna do is I basically, and you guys should definitely do this, I'm defending, but I'm not using my hands at all. So she's trying to set her heel hooks. This gives her a chance to try to get her heel hook, and it gives me a chance to try to kick my legs free and defend myself. The two main ways you're gonna do that, and these aren't like secrets or anything like that, if I can catch this early before she's rolled onto my leg and put her weight on, I'm gonna do a toe slip. I'm just gonna push her shoulder, free my toe, cross my feet again, right? It's very simple, but if you don't practice it, your timing will be off and you will not be able to defend yourself from here. So I'm holding the knee still. I push her shoulder with my toe. I just circle my feet, triangle, and then I go right back on the attack. If I'm late on that and that shoulder's dropped, I'm probably not gonna be able to reach. She's being nice, so I can a little bit, but I'm not gonna have the same strength to push off that. So now I'm gonna have to do a heel slip. And again, I'll demonstrate this, but do this one slowly when you guys do. What I'm trying to do is I'm turning, I'm putting my heel into her elbow pit. So I'm holding the knee and I'm driving my foot through into a safe spot and then reconnecting or standing up. Once more on both those. If I'm early, she's going down, I kick free, I just cycle my legs, and practice this with your training partners where one guy's 60 seconds on the clock, 90 seconds or whatever, and we start just like right here, and she's just trying to heel hook me. And I'm just sitting here trying to defend. If she gets one locked on, I push off. If she gets a very tight one locked on, instead of the toe slip, we do the heel slip where I drive my knee through the gap on her elbow. And this is probably the best way for you guys to do this. If you all roll like Adam, which I would assume, you want to stand up from here. My foot is safe. It's on the ground. This is what I want. I'm free of the choke. 2 hands down, drive my weight in. And honestly, if you're going to really battle 50-50, I think this is about the safest position to do it. If you watch Imanari, Nicky Ryan, Gary Tonin, the top guys, this is how they battle 50-50. It's not this up here. You will get swept. You will get knocked over. You have horrible heel exposure. It's almost this tri-point stance where my legs are wide, my hand is here for balance, and I'm holding the knee if I can. She actually wants her knee probably a little bit lower, depending on how she's playing the 50-50, but if I keep this here, I can usually use this to work around. I get the balance point I want. I can cycle this through, attack the knee myself, or more likely, once I've circled this through, connect, hips come up, bridge, and I walk around. I don't let go of that leg and stop here, because she's gonna swing this right back through, and we're gonna be right back in 50-50. So I'm here. She's got 50-50, hold the knee, 3-point stance. I work this arm through. I pry her leg up. I now take a grip on both legs, hula hoop grip, or hula hoop my hips, drive up, circle this around, and then my advice is work to a north-south from here or drop to a knee on belly. Anything else, guys? Awesome. Absolutely. I'll be around a few, I'll be around a few more minutes. Feel free to grab me if you guys have any questions on something. I'll also throw this out there. If you guys ever come through Louisville, Derby City, you guys want to check out the infamous Jiu-Jitsu, come on down. We let visitors in like absolutely all the time. There's not a mat fee, like come on through. And especially Saturdays, I know Adam's been down there already. Saturday I teach like a 2-hour class, generally like 10 to noon. So you guys are more than welcome to come on there at any time. And also too, I definitely recommend when you guys play with this, find me on Messenger, on Facebook, whatever. If you're having problems, shoot me a message. Like I'll address what's going on. I'll shoot you a quick video back. Adam mentioned you guys had Max in here. You guys have Brad in here. Brad's probably sick of hearing me because we send so many messages back and forth and I'm constantly asking him for techniques. I would say I didn't use the crucifix at all until really I started training with Brad, and now I have probably like 24 videos on my messenger of just him and I sending stuff back and forth. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on this. Otherwise, you are dismissed.
I'll wrap it up real quick, guys. Thanks for coming out. Let's give Evan and his crew a big round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
I think the biggest thing that I learned is that we need to have him back.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, bud. Absolutely.
All right, guys, we got to jump off the mat. I'm going to cone off the area back by the bag so we can get some extra drilling in. But Muay Thai is going to jump on the mat too, so we'll be cramped, but let's do it. All right?
Hell yeah. Thank you guys very much. Gary.